His speech is entitled, I Was Born as a Small Boy. I was born as a small boy at Cameron20100901.
Actually, ladies and gentlemen, I was born as a small boy is a little bit incorrect. A more appropriate title would really be, I was born naked. Now that's the truth. I was born completely unprepared for this world. Imagine. I was very happy. I was very happy. Sleeping very peacefully in my nice warm bed, in my cozy little room. And all of a sudden, I had this tremendous urge to go. Now I'm not talking about onesies or twosies. I'm talking about go, get out of there. You know, high pressure, move. So I jumped out of the sack and I started heading towards the light. Go to the light. So I started going for the light, and the hall all of a sudden started to get really small, really narrow. But I forced my way through. I got through, and bam! I was freezing. I was born in May, in sunny California, in the middle of spring. It was a great warm day, but it was like hopping out of a hot bath into the frigid air with the fan on. It was so cold. And then this guy grabbed me by the ankles and held me upside down and said, "Okay, breathe, little fella. Breathe? It's 20 degrees. And there's an audience." And I discovered I was naked. And everybody's looking. And breathe? You're going to breathe? I couldn't breathe. The guy was really rude, and he hit me. Ah! And they wonder why children cry. So I was, well, my mother, God bless her, my mother is just an angel. Let me show you. This is my mother. And when I saw her, I totally fell in love. I was completely unprepared for the beauty of women. And it has affected me my whole life. And let me explain. When Mom got me, she wrapped me very warmly. She seemed to understand this warmth issue, you know. She wrapped me up, and this was in 1955. They didn't have car seats and those big things that weigh 5 times more than the baby. She just laid me very carefully on the back seat and drove very carefully home. And then she went in, and I remember it was the old Studebaker, the Woody, you know, it was a great little car. And she picked me up very carefully, and I was facing south when she put me over her shoulder. And I opened up my eyes to see the great wide world, and the sun just, got me. And I started to cry again, and Mother, God bless her, said, "Oh, there's no reason to cry." Yes, there was reason to cry. I got hit by 75 gigawatts of light. It was a little shocking. And ever since then, I have to admit that whenever I look into the sun, I close my eyes. Well, like I said, I was totally unprepared for the beauties of women. And when I got into grade school, Menlo Oak Elementary, it was a great little school, I started to hear the kids singing, "Ooh, ooh, ugly, Cindy, Cindy Wilson, ooh, ooh, ugly." It's kind of got a ring to it, right? Ooh, ooh. Well, Cindy Wilson was my sister, Donnie's best friend at the time. I didn't know that. So when I started to sing, "Ooh, ooh, ugly, Cindy, Cindy Wilson," you know, you got to be part of the group, right? My sister smacked me and said, "Don't you do that. She's my friend." All right, well, my sister's 2 or 3 years older than me. She was about 12 leagues bigger than me, and I decided it was not a good idea. But then she brought Cindy Wilson home. Cute little button nose, freckles, and hair, you know, sort of like the length of my mother's. Brown hair. I fell in love. And I started to sing. Ooh, ooh, pretty Cindy, Cindy Wilson, ooh, ooh. You know, you do that at school against the flow, it doesn't go well. But when we got home and I started to sing that, it really didn't go well. I got in much more trouble with my sister. We had a swing that was pretty close to the back brick wall of our yard, and swinging out, and I started to sing this, but I was going like facing the other way, because I wanted to turn my back from the house and everybody. I was sort of upset with my family, so I was swinging out towards the wall, and I started to sing. I didn't know my sister was there, I swear, I didn't. And I didn't know Cindy Wilson was there, but I started to sing, ooh, ooh, pretty Cindy, Cindy Wilson. And my sister says, don't do that! And she gave me a big push, and I hit the wall. Maybe it was this side, I don't remember. But Mother has a picture of me with water on the brain. I have a little water on the brain ever since. That's why I am. Well, in 1962, we moved up to British Columbia. This has nothing to do with women, but I have to tell you a wonderful story. Dad had a 42 3-ton truck, and it was totally loaded with everything in it. It took us 5 days to get up to British Columbia, the 1,200 miles. We went about 25 miles an hour downhill. That truck was very, very slow. And I noticed that, you know what, I'm going to have to bypass this story because I notice I'm out of time. I'll tell it to you another time in private. It's wonderful. I have to tell you about Gail Dane. She was another one of these beauties, but she was Mary Joy's best friend. I remember one time I came out of the farmhouse in British Columbia and I had a load of cookies. Beautiful cookies, wonderful cookies, right out of the oven. And I sat in the old 1945 Willys Jeep that Dad had, and I was eating these things. Now, see, I was sitting in the front because I knew that Mary Joy and Gail Dane were in the back. I wasn't about to share my cookies with anybody because I was a strong man. But when Mary Joy told Gail that I had a crush on her, it ruined me. Because Gail says, "Can I please have a cookie, honey bunch?" Sure. You know, and that was the ruin of me. And I mean, when my wife Sharon said, "Honey bunch," I just had to ask her to marry me. This
We'll have 1 minute silence for